welcome back to the Tea and a Butty podcast. I'm Dominic.
And I'm Erica.
And today's episode is about desert island discs.
What are desert island discs, Dominic?
It's funny you should ask that, because I was just about to tell you. We're basing this on the original BBC Radio 4 programme called Desert Island Discs, which has been running since about 1942.
That's so crazy.
And, I mean, it's been voted, I think, the best radio programme ever. Because it's had so many people on it. It's had so many, like, famous people and...
Yeah, like...
Everyone.
Yeah.
Anyone and everyone who's ever been anyone is on it.
Anyone and everyone who has ever been anyone.
And it's each week a guest, which is called a castaway.
Yeah.
During the programme, is asked to choose 8 recordings, usually but not always music. So they can be like recordings of speeches, could be like poems, yeah. Could be, it doesn't have to be a song or an album or whatever, you know.
Maybe like even a book on recording of an audiobook.
A recording of an audiobook, yes, yeah. Exactly. But then they can also choose a book, their favourite book, and a luxury item, which could be anything from, you know, whatever, you know.
Yeah, anything.
Anything that they'd choose to take if they were to be cast away on a desert island.
You know, I've heard about this since I was a kid, and I didn't know.
What's your desert island discs?
Well, not what's your desert island discs, but what things would you take with you if you were on a desert island? You know?
Yes. Well, yes.
Always been that kind of thing. Oh, if you were stranded on a desert island, what? Usually it's just like, what 3 things would you have with you?
Yeah.
You know, but I wonder, was that already a thing, or did it come from this? You know, you're telling me this started in the 40s.
It started in the 40s. It was on the BBC Forces programme in 1942, and then it went like to the Home Service. This is before like Radio 1 and Radio 2 were kind of like invented. And then now it's been on Radio 4 since, I think, like, you know, the 60s or something. Yeah. Whenever Radio 4 was...
And since we're not being asked by the BBC to come on and share our desert island discs,
we're just going to share them with you. I mean, you know, this is like perfect podcast material right here. You know?
I think usually on the show, though, they play the song, don't they?
They play the song. We're not going to be playing any songs because of copyright. Because we're going to be putting this up on YouTube, and we haven't got nearly enough money to pay for copyright. So, yeah, I mean,
just look up the songs. We'll
yeah, and you might know.
Yeah,
we'll say them slowly enough. Yeah,
you can look them
up. Yes.
Be sure to let us know. Like, where should we have you tell us? I don't know. Wherever you want to. We're on all the social medias at TButty, TEABUTTY. So be sure and let us know what your desert island discs are, which book you would take with you, and which luxury item. I'm really curious to know what people would take with them. You know, it's just a fun thing. Obviously,
it's a fun little thing.
You don't have to put too much thought into it.
You don't have to put too much thought.
We're not asking you to actually go to a desert island and like live there, you know.
No.
So yeah, just let us know.
But yes, continue on. The guests, each week a guest is asked their desert island discs and, you know, their luxury item and book, and whilst discussing their lives and the reasons for their choices. Yeah. It was devised by and originally presented by Roy Plomley. And since 2018, the program has been presented by Lauren Laverne.
It's sort of an interesting way to do an interview, isn't it?
It is, yes, yeah. And I mean...
You get to know a person in a different kind of way than just asking questions, you know?
Yeah, and over 3,000 episodes of it have been recorded.
Yeah, wow.
And, you know, some guests have obviously haven't appeared more than once. And some episodes feature more than one guest, too, so, you know... So yeah, I mean, you've got yours. Yeah. Ready? Do you want to go first? What's your first desert island disc?
Well, I didn't
Erica?
Did you put yours in any kind of order?
No, I just slapped mine together.
Me either. Yeah.
Yes.
You just slapped them together. Just slapped them together. Yeah. Okay, so these are not in order of like most favorite song to least favorite song, and all of mine are songs because
I think only one of my Yeah, only one of mine is an actual song. The rest are just albums.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
I thought they had to be songs.
No, I said songs originally, and then you said
you just changed it.
No, you said, oh, I was choosing
You're
albums.
taking whole albums, and I'm just taking single songs. This is a rip off.
It's going to be
I
8.
smell a fix. I smell a fix.
No.
Oh my god. All right, well, this is not fair. You're taking whole albums. I thought we agreed on songs. Ugh. All right, this is what it's like to live with us, just so you know. My first one...
Miscommunication a lot of the time, yes.
Is... No, I thought in the show they do songs, right?
They do, but I mean, it's recordings. So, you know, it doesn't have to be music.
Okay.
You could do a recording of, like...
Get out.
JFK's speeches or whatever, you know. Winston Churchill, you know.
Why do I want to have those with me on a desert island?
What? Because, you might be into them.
Let me just preface my list, you guys, with... I'm being really real on my list. I'm not trying to impress anyone. You know, I have a feeling...
That don't impress me much.
No, I have a feeling that some of these people that go on this interview, you know, they've thought long and hard about what's going to make me sound most interesting or most, like, deep and intellectual and, like, you know, they just really want to impress. Mine is just
mine is what I would actually take.
Mine's very simple. Okay. I didn't think about, like, what is going to make me seem, you know, the most intellectual. Okay. So my first one is the song "Don't Let Me Down" by the Beatles.
Yeah.
Because I had to have the Beatles in there, obviously.
So
and since I wasn't allowed an entire album,
do you want to take "Let It Be" with you then?
Nah. If I was gonna take one Beatles
that actually
album,
wasn't actually on the original "Let It Be" album, but it appeared on "Let It Be Naked." So
yeah, no. If I was going to take
remaster.
one album with me of the Beatles, because I think I've sort of, I don't think I have any repeats of any one artist. You know, I try to like take a mix. So
I've got repeats.
If I had to take one Beatles album with me, since you're a big cheater, pumpkin eater.
You're a pumpkin eater.
It would be the White Album. I would take the White Album.
Okay.
But because we're only doing songs, I thought it's "Don't Let Me Down" by the Beatles. I don't know that it's my all-time favorite Beatles song, but
it's up there.
It's right now, and it has been for quite a while. "Don't Let Me Down." The combination of John Lennon and Paul McCartney's voices in that song. It's not so much about the lyrics, obviously.
You just love the rooftop performance
Usually
of it.
I'm a lyrics kind of
You can't wait for that to be in glorious HD in the 6th part. Is it? Oh no, it's 3-part, isn't it? 6 hours.
6 hour long.
Get back.
Yeah.
Thing. Yeah.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Hashtag not sponsored, but wish we were. Because we want to see that, don't we? Obsessed with it.
But yeah, anyway. So the next one that I chose is "God Only Knows" by the Beach Boys.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, such a good song.
Yeah.
It's a really good song. I don't know, would Pet Sounds be... If I was taking
there's a
album,
couple of good songs on it.
Yeah,
there are. There's a couple of good songs on it.
There are.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway,
Caroline,
I'm taking "God Only Knows" because that is just such a good song. The third song that I'm going to take is "American Girl" by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Oh, yeah.
That is just my theme. Yeah. Copyright. That's just my
Copyright.
theme. I just... love it, you guys. I just absolutely love it. You know, well, she was an American girl. It's like you cannot beat that. Just his voice, and so good. If I was going to take Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, I think that I would take an album I'm talking about. I think I would take a Greatest Hits.
A Greatest Hits?
Yeah. Because their hits
I mean,
are
if it was up to me,
hits.
just me, I'd take Full Moon Fever, but that was a solo album of his.
Oh,
But
yeah.
the Heartbreakers worked on it, so...
Yeah. I do a Greatest Hits because just their hits are the top for me.
Yeah.
My next one is "A Change Is Gonna Come" by Sam Cooke.
Sam Cooke, yeah, it's another good one.
Oh, such a good song. I could listen to that song just forever, probably.
Yeah.
Number 5 is Diamonds on the Soles of Her Shoes by Paul Simon. This song, if you've never heard of it, guys, is off of his Graceland album, and I would probably consider bringing that entire album with me if I was bringing albums rather than songs, like someone I know.
Rather than songs? I mean, I've got one song on mine, so... I was actually just about to change it now because I'm thinking,
No, you. No, my stuff can't influence you.
No, it's not. I just thought of something.
Number 6 on my list is Just Like a Woman by Bob Dylan.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That song is absolute perfection. I don't know, though. I was having a little bit of difficulty. Would I choose just him singing it, or would I choose the him and George Harrison version?
Yeah, from the Concert for Bangladesh.
Yeah.
Concert for Bangladesh is a good album. I'd take that
one. But yeah, Just Like a Woman. I'd probably consider taking the entire Blonde on Blonde album with me, and possibly Free Will and Bob Dylan also. If I was taking albums, because those are just 2 absolutely great albums. Number 7 is, and I almost forgot about this song, and it just came to me at the last second, In the Wee Small Hours of the Morning by Frank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra.
Oh, so good. I can just imagine me like laying on a beach and listening to him singing that to me every night. I would never get tired of that. Just so soothing. His voice is just so
go to sleep.
Beautiful. And but it would probably make me want to have somebody with me, because it's such like a love song. And speaking of love songs, my last one, I had a really, really, really hard time just choosing 8 songs, because, there's a lot of songs that I like. I was really thinking about Looking for My Life off of George Harrison's Brainwashed album.
Looking for my life.
Yeah, I love that song.
Looking for my life.
And I was thinking some solo John Lennon stuff, like maybe Imagine. But
these are all honorable mentions. So
yeah,
we can have honorable mentions.
But I was like, I really need a bit of a rocker. For a split second, I thought Monkberry Moon Delight by Paul McCartney.
Monkberry Moon Delight.
Delight. He just goes absolutely crazy in that song. And I thought, that could be fun, just like being crazy on an island, listening to him screaming. But I chose a Paul McCartney all-time classic, and that's Maybe I'm Amazed.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just so good. I just love that one.
That's a really good one, yeah.
As far as book, and you know what? I considered, because we didn't have to just choose music. I did consider the entire Harry Potter collection audio, but I was like, nah, I'd probably rather have
a book.
I'd probably rather have music.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so then I compromised with myself, and I chose Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix for the book that I would take.
Yes.
Yeah.
You like, that's your favorite one of the
I
series?
think so, yeah. It's got a little bit of everything. I think that the story really progressed to a good point by that book.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I was not a super fan of was the tension between Harry and Dumbledore. Dumbledore was quite ignoring Harry in that book, and Harry was getting really frustrated, and me as a reader then was getting frustrated as well.
Well, what's Dumbledore up to?
Yes, but Dumbledore's got some great moments in that book, because that's the one that Umbridge comes to Hogwarts, and so she's teaching Defense Against the Dark Arts. And then she takes over as headmaster, and Dumbledore's got to leave, and he's got some fun moments in that book. And then there's the whole Harry's created this Dumbledore's army, and he's teaching everybody how to do like the Patronus charms. It's just a really fun, good book. You know, there's a lot of fun things happening. Fred and George are getting more into all of their
business ideas.
Yeah, their business, their joke stuff, you know, their joke products and everything. And so there's a lot of fun moments from them. And I just thought, yeah, I'm going to do a book. Let me do Harry Potter. You know, I thought I'm a big fan of a lot of autobiographies, but I thought, could I just read an autobiography over and over and over alone on an island? And I think I would get tired of, you know, reading about someone's life, maybe.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me just have a bit of escapism, I think.
Bit of escapism, yeah.
As for the luxury item that I would choose...
What is it?
Do you want to have a guess? I think I want you to guess what you think. Because you're never going to guess it, I don't think. Let's do 3 guesses. You can do 3 guesses.
Okay, a ponytail?
A ponytail. Oh, like a ponytail holder, you mean?
Ponytail holder. Like a scrunchie.
Yeah, I was like, you want me to take my ponytail would be a luxury item. No. That's a good guess, though. I mean, yeah, it's going to get hot and sweaty on a desert island, isn't it?
Slides.
No, I really did think about shoes because that's super practical, obviously.
I mean, it's practical, but it can be absolutely anything,
yeah.
So.
I mean, obviously, if you're on a desert island, you would probably like to have a pair of shoes when you're going to do whatever you need to do on that island, you know. But no, it's not shoes.
Well, I don't know, then. I mean...
One more guess.
A toothbrush.
Oh, you're thinking way too practically. No. I did think about shoes. I really thought, yeah, shoes.
Ice cream
that seems
or something,
the most
isn't
obvious. I thought shoes seems the most obvious. I thought, you know what, a pillow. And then I thought, do I want to be laying on a pillow on like the sand on the ground and have bugs crawling all over me and everything? Maybe a whole bed. Maybe I want to take a bed to get me up off the ground. That might be good. But then I thought, no, that's a little too practical also. So I chose a solar-powered freezer. I have no idea whether that exists. Stocked full of an assortment of ice cream.
And I mean, you have to be very sparing with that ice cream.
You don't know how big the freezer is. The freezer could be like one of those massive...
A walk-in freezer.
Yeah.
Solar powered.
And it's just like stocked, you know, top to bottom, just all the ice cream.
All the ice creams that you can imagine.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I thought it was ice cream. That's my 4th guess right there, so yes.
All right, let's have your discs now.
My discs, my records, my vinyl, my, you know, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's not really discs now, is it? You know,
discs, yeah.
It's not, it's kind of like, you know, now it would be, I
mean, I guess some people
your phone with, you know, a massive amount of storage, you know.
Yeah.
My first one, actually, you said it, was the White Album.
Oh,
by the Beatles. Yeah, because, I mean, that is so them, you know, it's them separately, but also together.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got kind of the best of both worlds there, really, of the Beatles. And 1968 and everything, and it's a double album, so you know, it's got everything.
That's what I thought too. It was like you get extra Beatles music with that album. I mean, you would with Sgt. Pepper as well, but but now the White Album's just so representative of each of them.
Yeah, I mean that point in their lives, and you know, a little bit after too, but yeah, and so that was my first choice, and the next one actually is a song.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and it's Waterloo Sunset by the Kinks. I just love that one.
Oh,
and it's my dad's favourite too, actually, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So, but, you know, he played it enough that it's in my head too now. You know, it's just one of those great...
But you don't love the Kinks enough to take an entire album, is that
I
what you're telling me?
I take a greatest hits of them, yeah. I definitely take a greatest hits of them, but Waterloo Sunset is like one of the perfect songs
Yeah.
for me. My next one is another album. It's Chaos and Creation in the Backyard by Paul McCartney.
Yes.
Yes, you
That's
see?
a great album.
And it's probably one of his best in recent years.
Oh, definitely. 100%.
Yeah. And that one, no, it wasn't. It's just a great album. And the next one is...
Save a couple of songs. I think I would trade out a couple of the songs from that album for a couple of songs from other Paul McCartney albums.
Maybe.
And then it would be like the perfect album, I think. Yeah.
Maybe. All Things Must Pass is my next one.
Oh,
the album.
Yeah.
It's a triple album too.
Yeah.
And it's got a lot of great tracks on it, that George was saving for this moment,
Yeah.
George Harrison's All Things Must Pass, which they're coming out with a $2,000 something, isn't it? No, it's $1,000, I think.
It's $1,000, yeah.
But yeah.
Remastered
with gnomes.
edition.
I get that, and I take it, and I put all the gnomes around the island, and it'd be cute.
Yes. I would love to have those gnomes.
They're cute, aren't they? The little gnomes.
Just sell the gnomes. Yeah.
The cutest little gnomes.
And there's a little George Harrison one.
And there's a little George Harrison.
Yeah.
Yes.
How cute would those be in a flower bed in your front garden?
Oh my God, so cute.
Yeah. No, but that's a great choice, yeah. Would you say that might be one of the Beatles collectively their best solo albums?
I
if
think
not
so.
The best?
Yeah, I think so, because I think it's probably, he had a lot of stuff he was sitting on, and then once the Beatles ended, he got together with all the other musicians and just did it his way,
All the other musicians.
All the other musicians, it was like he had Eric Clapton, he had Billy Preston, he had Ringo on it, he had a bunch of people, so he was really in the flow, whereas John and Paul were just kind of like, thinking about writing a hit, still.
Yeah.
And they wrote a couple of hits on Maybe I'm Amazed and Imagine came out around the same time, and so that was their hit, and then they just built albums around it. But that being said, I took, it's not my next one actually. Well, yeah, it can be my next one. Imagine, the album by John Lennon.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good album compared to Paul's first one, McCartney. It wasn't, it was just kind of like homemade, and it's pretty good, it's still good, but it's not as good as like Imagine or All Things Must Pass,
Yeah. I agree.
Then I had Help, the album by the Beatles.
Really?
I don't know. There's something about that album that's just really bloody good.
Gosh, I haven't listened to it in a long time.
It's like people go on about, Rubber Soul was their best album from that period, and Revolver, but I really think Help, they were really on it.
I do think Rubber Soul is a good album.
Rubber Soul, obviously, it's just a great album, but Help for me, it's just like, it has great tracks and a great pop, and it has great kind of like folk kind of like songs on there too. And I know it's like I don't know, it's just a really great album to me. And it's got Yesterday on it too, so
yeah.
So there you go. A classic. Flaming Pie by Paul McCartney, speaking of classics, the album. I take that. That's just his, like, he was in Beatle mode. He was back in, and he just, the anthology was coming out, and, that was just his, his time when he was just like, he was just really inspired to do stuff again, and he was writing really great and everything. And the last album that I've got in here is Stanley Road by Paul Weller. And that's just one. It's something from my childhood.
Yeah, Dominic's a big Paul Weller head, so
Paul Weller head, all his incarnations.
That doesn't surprise me.
Because that album, I bought that when I was about 9 or 10, and I just listened to it over and over, and it was just a really great, like, he's a big Beatle head, Paul Weller, so it comes out in his music,
Yeah.
I've got honourable mentions here because I was like, there was, more than 8 you know.
Oh, yeah.
Anything by John Barry
Mhm.
or Jerry Goldsmith. And they're composers, so, you know, anything that they ever did in, you know, music, in like, you know,
life.
in score, in film soundtracks and scores and stuff, because that's one of my other things that I love to listen to. John Barry was most notably for the James Bond franchise, and Jerry Goldsmith for the Star Trek franchise. It was just really great music to accompany really great films and TV. So yeah, anything for that, anything from them would be great.
Yeah.
My book, following on from that, is On Her Majesty's Secret Service by Ian Fleming.
Okay.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
And it was because it was almost a complete adaptation of the actual book, you know. So, and the book is really well done as well, you know. I mean, all the James Bond novels are good that Ian Fleming did, but I don't know, On Her Majesty's Secret Service seems like it's just a really good.
Yeah, I was gonna say why that one over the others?
Because it's, you know, it's just I guess because the film is so good at capturing it. That, you know, when I read the book, because I read the book after I watched the film, and I thought this is, you know, it's just like watching the film in a book. And, you know, it's like one of those things that, you know, like people say, oh, the book was better.
Yeah.
You know, Harry Potter, you know, the book was better, and the book was much better. And it's just like, no, that's one of the things where the book mimics the actual film. You know, you're watching it. I mean, apart from a few plot adherences here and there, you know, it's exactly like the film. And it's just like you're just, oh, this is exactly, because some people are disappointed when they read a book that it's not like the film, or they watch a film and they're disappointed because read the book, the book's better or whatever. But that one was just, you know, equal in my mind. You know, it was just as good as the book, and the film was, you know, the book was just as good as the film. So
the only book that I've ever read that was not as good as the film, that the film was actually much better in my opinion, was The Graduate.
Oh, maybe, yeah, I don't know.
It was so, and maybe it's because, like you with the James Bond book, maybe it's because I had seen the movie first,
maybe,
which I usually try to read a book first. You know, if there's a film out that I want to see that I know is based on a book, I try to read the book first if I can. But with that one, I had seen the film first, and that's one of my all-time favorite films. So I was like, okay, I want to read this book now, you know. And the book was just so like, wah, wah. I don't know. It was really disappointing. I've never ever experienced that. Always, all the rest of the time.
Because people usually read the books first, and then they see a movie's coming out, and they're just like, "Oh, I watched it, but it's nothing what I imagined it was going to be." You know, my imagination has to be exactly captured. And it's interesting, you know, because people read the book after watching a film of the book, and they're just kind of like, "Oh, well, this isn't how it was in the film, so it's a bit disappointing for me," you know?
Yeah.
So I guess that's, you know, with like my choice, it's very much, you know, it was dead on. You know?
Which that doesn't happen very often.
That doesn't happen, and especially in the James Bond franchise, because you know, they made it more for like a general audience, you know, rather than the people who were really into the books, you know.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, too exciting for kids and everything, you know.
Yeah, because you said, what have you told me about the James Bond books? Like they're quite different from the movies.
Yes, because well, I mean, some of them are quite different. Some of them are just recycled plots from the earlier films, and I think The Spy Who Loved Me, which is probably considered Roger Moore's best outing as James Bond, the book is nothing like that. I mean, I haven't read the book, but that was one of the things that Fleming had put in his will: never adapt The Spy Who Loved Me in the book. You can use the title, but you can never adapt because it was kind of like he didn't like it because he'd written it in the style of like, oh, this is a memoirs of a woman writing.
Okay.
And I think Bond didn't really feature much in it or something, and you know, it was you know, he just, you know, it came out. I think he liked it, when he wrote it, and he came out, but everybody was just like, "Oh, it's not very good," and he was just like, "Yeah, well, actually, I hate that one. Don't bother." So yeah, I mean, the guy had his flaws. I mean, a product of his time.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and so the books reflect that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and by the time they were making the movies in the 70s, attitudes had changed, and of course nowadays it's complete change. They've run out of like source material.
Yeah.
And they can only use bits and pieces of like names for like the books for the films and stuff. So yeah, my luxury item would be a guitar.
Oh yeah.
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 Not a freezer full of ice cream.
Well, aren't you?
Because I like to play the guitar, don't I?
Aren't you just out of luck there?
Yeah, I mean, ice cream. I figured that was my fourth guess, so, I was getting to the ice cream.
Yeah, no, you chose a lot of good albums. I thought, it's just...
So I'm good. I'm good on that score.
Yeah.
And it's real. I'm not trying to be like, oh, I want Leonard Cohen or whatever. Just so I can look intellectual or
and
whatever.
And the book I'm going to take is, The Iliad. Or
War and Peace.
War and Peace. Yeah. Or something like even more just completely obscure, some kind of self-help something, like... I don't know. Not that there's anything wrong with any of that, of course, if that's what you're into. But
if you're into that, good for you. That's great.
We're trying to be as real as possible.
Trying to be real here.
And maybe even a little bit silly, I guess, with our, freezer full of ice cream.
Yours well, no, that's not silly, because you would actually have a freezer full of ice cream.
If I could.
He's like, have you got my freezer full of ice cream? Was it delivered here? Did it come ahead?
It's like, who needs a bed when you got a freezer
full of ice cream? I can just sleep in there when I need to keep cool.
Yes. Anyway, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. Be sure to follow us on social media. Be sure to check out our Patreon if you are interested in more podcasts.
More podcasts, more talking bits and pieces and stuff, Photos.
Extra things.
Behind the scenes footage.
Okay, you just
bloopers
now. Check out our Patreon.
We might get bloopers on there, actually.
Check out our Patreon. We so will not. Check out our Patreon page for, more specific extras and benefits that you can get by becoming a patron. And we will talk to you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.